are many people who spend their lives serving our community and country. We honor them, we look up to them, we're proud of them. They'll do whatever it takes to protect us and expect nothing in return. Pastor Tim is going to share with us how the ultimate sacrifice changed everything.
So a long time ago, if you had messed up and you wanted to be made right with God, you had to make a sacrifice. You had to burn some grain or you had to slaughter an animal in order to be made right with God. In the New Testament, we don't see that happening, and certainly at this church anyway, we don't do that. Hebrews, the writer there, tries to explain what was going on. It says in Hebrews 9:22, it kind of tries to explain it, and it says, "Indeed, under the law, almost everything is purified with blood. And without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sin." The shedding of blood required for the forgiveness of sin. This makes Jesus' work on the cross so important. He had to shed his blood in order to provide forgiveness for our sin. The Bible's very clear. You and I and everyone we know are sinful. We needed forgiveness of that sin because that sin results in death and eternal separation from God. So instead of making regular sacrifices of burning grain or killing animals, Jesus says, I will become the sacrifice. I will shed my blood and sacrifice for many. So we required the sacrifice. Jesus then provided the sacrifice. 2 Corinthians 5:21 says this, "God made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God." Notice it says that God made him who had no sin to become sin for us. He was a perfect, sinless sacrifice. His sacrifice was what created a way for us to get back to God. Now that a sacrifice has been provided for those who have sinned, we have an opportunity to honor that sacrifice. Like when we honor our veterans, right? We honor our veterans. I from time to time get called to do a funeral, and I recently did the funeral of a veteran, and there is this graveside ceremony that honors them. It's special. You only do this for people who have served in our military to honor their sacrifice. And there's some things that we as Christians, as followers of God, do to honor the sacrifice of Jesus. Hebrews 13:15 through 16 puts it this way. "Through Jesus, therefore, let us continually offer to God a sacrifice of praise, the fruit of our lips, that openly professes his name. And do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased." We get to make sacrifices that please God, but they're not burning offerings. They're not blood offerings. They're offerings of praise. We get to offer to him our lips, it says, that we can talk about him. We can tell others how great he is. We can talk back to him and tell him how great he is. We can praise him. We also can sacrifice what we do, the way that we live, the way that we treat others, the way that we raise our kids, our activity. And it says that we can sacrifice in what we give. It's not just about giving to a good cause. It's not just about being generous, but about sacrificing what he has given us back to him as a way of honoring him. Those who make sacrifice deserve to be honored. We needed a sacrifice. Jesus came without sin. He did not need to make a sacrifice. He chose to make a sacrifice on our behalf, people who desperately needed it. And now we have an opportunity to honor him with our lives and honor his sacrifice.